Real Madrid arrived at the derby with confidence, but what unfolded at the Metropolitano was a different story. A bruising 5-2 defeat that left the coaching staff scrambling for answers and supporters stunned. From the first whistle, Atletico showed a level of intensity and ruthlessness that Real simply didn't match, and by halftime the scoreboard was already telling a tale of a team outplayed in the duels, outmuscled in midfield, and out of sync in attack. The moment that crystallized the debate came before the start. Xabi Alonso chose to start Jude Bellingham and leave Franco Mastantuono on the bench, a calculated decision the coach justified by form and the idea adding presence between the lines. On paper, it made tactical sense. Bellingham offers power, forward thrust, and a reputation for controlling the middle, but football rarely unfolds on paper, and the reality of this 90 minutes showed the fragility of that gamble. As Atletico stamped their authority, Real lacked the fluid reactions the match demanded. Passes were slower, counters were clumsy, and too often Madrid lost the first contact that determines who controls a derby. Bellingham, returning to high-intensity action, looked short of the razor-edge fans expect. His timing was off, his connections with the forwards were laboured, and the balance that Mastantuono might have offered as a younger, more dynamic link in transition was conspicuously absent. Moments that might have been second nature. Covering a runner, stepping into space, early pressing triggers didn't happen with the consistency required, and Atletico punished those lapses with clinical finishing and ferocious pressure. The fallout is not just about a single player or a single substitute, it's about the architecture of a team still finding its best configuration under a new coach. Xabi has repeatedly defended his rotations and selection choices, saying players who train well earn their place and that the group must constantly be assessed. But when a marquee decision coincides with a result this one-sided, the headlines and the questions multiply. Media and former players have queued up to pick apart the choices, noting that derbies demand maximum intensity and that when that intensity is missing, tactical tweaks are not enough. Some pundits pointed to specific moments where Madrid lost duels in the middle third, leaving the defence exposed and creating a cascade of problems that no single substitution could fix. For the young Mastantuono, the night adds another chapter to the story fans are following closely. A highly rated prospect who has shown glimpses of causing games problems and who now finds himself as a narrative pivot in a harsh verdict about squad selection. For Bellingham, the narrative is more complicated. His profile as a world-class midfielder is undisputed, but recovering full match fitness and rediscovering peak sharpness takes time, and against an opponent as combative as Atletico, that process was brutally accelerated under public scrutiny. Xabi walked the fine line in the press room, lamenting the lack of intensity and admitting the team didn't compete at the level required, while still urging fans to see this as a moment to learn and raise standards rather than panic. Beyond words, the scoreboard speaks, a heavy loss that invites immediate tactical reassessment and forces difficult conversations about rotation, fitness and mentality. There are also practical consequences. Injury concerns that surfaced during the match add to Alonso's headaches and could shape selection in the next fixtures, and the psychological toll of such a defeat will require steady leadership to reset the squad's belief. The bigger question lingering over Madrid now is systemic. Was this an isolated implosion on a bad day, or a sign that the team's underlying balance needs reconstruction? If the answer is the latter, then the next games aren't just about points, they're about proving the blueprint holds when pressure is highest. Supporters will want clarity. Will the coach return to youth energy in midfield? Will he temper star selections when the tactical matchup calls for different attributes? And can the squad absorb this shock and respond with collective steel? Tonight the debate is fierce because the outcome was decisive, and in football decisive nights have a way of defining season. Real's path forward must be immediate and honest. Rebuild intensity and training, refine the midfield shape so that the transition moments are covered, and give the players clear roles that remove guesswork in the heat of a derby. Only then can a single substitution be just a selection, not an argument that consumes a club's narrative.